The slave trade and the Middle Passage. Between the years of 1525 and 1866, 12.5 million Africans were captured and set sail across the Atlantic Ocean in a journey which is now called the Middle Passage. Of these, 10.7 million survived and made it to the other side of the ocean, where they would become slaves in North America, South America, or the Caribbean. Slaves were captured from their native lands, separated from their families, and marched across Africa to the western coast, where they would await European and American slave traders who would board them onto ships and set sail for the New World. This voyage was more difficult than anything that they had yet endured. It would last 4 to 12 weeks, depending on the weather. Those who did not survive, which were many, were tossed over the edge of the ship, and the smell of sick and dying people was enough to cause sharks to follow the slave ships. On the ships, people were bound hand and foot. They were treated as cargo and therefore placed as closely together as possible to maximize the revenue of those who owned the ships. As a slave in this ship, you would be covered in human refuse and garbage. You may or may not ever be permitted on this journey to go up onto the deck and see the sky or receive any exercise. Many became sick this way, being so close to one another. When they arrived in the New World, slaves were auctioned off to the highest bidder, and their quality of life depended on those who chose to purchase them. Those who ended up as domestic servants fared better than those who ended up working on plantations, and those who tended rice fared worst of all because of the high turnover rate. That means people dying because of malaria. Conditions were brutal, though many were treated better or worse depending on the choices of those who bought them. The song Amazing Grace was written by John Newton, a former slave trader who chose to change his life, and after becoming a Christian, felt that he had been redeemed and saved from this life that he had led. He wrote the song Amazing Grace to commemorate the triumph of God over these cruel and terrible circumstances. The slave trade ended in 1866.